So Subscribestar is back, and that's great. If you're not aware, Subscribestar is a Patreon alternative. This is not an advertisement for them. I'm not being paid by them. They didn't ask me to make a video for them. It's just, I've been following this whole thing, and the whole thing with people being kicked off Patreon, and what they did was they went to Subscribestar. PayPal pulled out of Subscribestar, and essentially Subscribestar had to kind of not go offline, but they had to reject any new customers while they worked around that. And I appreciate that. It seems that they're not political, but they are principled, which I enjoy. There are some companies like Gab and BitChute which are blatantly political in their Twitter feeds and that, which, I mean, I have nothing against that, but it's kind of like, all I want is a business that just says, hey, we will treat you fairly, period. And that's it. And it seems like Subscribestar is kind of like that, where it's not that they're out with a political agenda, which, yeah, nothing wrong with a political agenda, as long as you're, like, truthful and honest about it, which sites like Gab are, whereas sites like Twitter are not. But I kind of like how Subscribestar is just, they're not putting out an agenda, they're just saying, hey, this is the site, this is a site we created, this is our goal, to create a Patreon-like alternative where you won't get kicked off. We will treat you fairly. And it's clear in their messages that their goal is to say, hey, this is what we want. Like, we're not, like, I have nothing against if a company wants to make money. That's fine. Like, I understand that. All companies are out to make money. That's something people have to realize. Like, money is a big thing in a company. And I don't necessarily blame companies that have to fold to pressure when it's either fold to pressure or go bankrupt. When it comes to Subscribestar, they've proven surprisingly resilient for such a small company. Like, a bunch of people went to them, and PayPal pulled out. Like, that's a big loss for them. And instead of saying, like, sorry, guys, like, we had to kick you off because PayPal didn't like it, they were like, no, we're going to fight back. We're going to come back. And that's what they did. So this is a great company. And it feels weird making a video that's pretty much just an advertisement, I guess, for Subscribestar. Like, free advertising for them, I guess. But no, it is a decent company, and I think we ought to, at the very least, make people aware of them. Because it's amazing sometimes how I get trapped in my bubble sometimes and forget that people don't know about all these social media alternatives that are surprisingly, like, surprisingly decent. And I keep seeing people saying, oh, if only there was an alternative. It's like, yes, there is. It's just that they're small and they're slowly growing. And Subscribestar is one. If you're looking for a Patreon alternative, here it is. And I've seen people say, like, you need to all their favorite creators, like, you need to get rid of Patreon and go to Subscribestar. And most people will be like, no, like, I'm not going to get rid of my income from Patreon. And I think the best way to go about that is to point out, like, hey, I'm not going to give you money because you use Patreon. Like, I'm sorry, I don't want my money going to Patreon. But at the very least, if you create a Subscribestar along with that, I will use that. And I think that's the best way to go out and say, hey, you can have two accounts at the same time and on two different platforms that do the same thing. Like, believe it or not, it's kind of like having a Facebook and a Twitter. Like, you can do that. You can have two different accounts. And overall, it's like, I think this is a decent site. And the whole reason I made this video is not because I'm getting paid. It's not because, like, they specifically asked me to make another video. But believe it or not, Subscribestar actually did send me an email saying, like, hey, thank you for making those videos defending us back when this whole thing happened. And all that was, it was like 2 sentences or whatever, like, hi, I'm from Subscribestar, thank you for this. And I like, honestly, when I saw that, I was like, huh, like, that is nice. That is very nice. Because I've worked for big companies before, and it's all about, like, how do we increase our image, how do we look good to people, and it's all about, like, what do we do to make people like us and show that we're not just this giant corporation. And that kind of comes out, like, it's kind of like a lose-lose scenario where no matter what, they're going to be, those big companies are going to have that corporate echo chamber at the top. And then there's sites like Subscribestar where they sent me an email for making videos that got like 400, 500, 600 views, I think. And in total, probably about 1,200 views. Most of those were probably the same people across all those videos. And that's not much in the grand scheme of things. Like, that's not, even though Subscribestar is a small company, I'm even smaller. I'm barely nothing at all when it comes to all these people putting out Subscribestar videos, but it's a little bit. And I kind of, like, honestly thought that was very nice. Like, not the fact that they did it to me personally, but the fact that if they did it to me, they most likely sent an email to pretty much everyone that made a Subscribestar video. And I think that's a very good thing about a company. Like, are you ever going to make a video saying good things about a company, and then the company is going to, like, and not in an advertising way, too. I get that this video is, again, like, pretty much an advertisement. That's because I don't know how else to do it. But my other videos were pretty much just like, yeah, these are the good things about Subscribestar. These are the bad things about Subscribestar. I mean, to point out, like, the bad things about Subscribestar, to just kind of keep this video fair, I will leave a link in the description where I went through their terms of service, and there were parts of it that are a little weird. Like, not weird, but things that would prefer if they didn't include. Like, things that give them a bit too much power to just kick someone off. Things that are a bit too vague. But nonetheless, I came out optimistic, saying like, hey, I think they're going to be, I'm optimistic that they're a principled site and they're not going to abuse the things in their terms of service that allow them to kick off whoever. And it seems that was worthwhile because they seem to be a decent company. And I like how, even though I said it wasn't just a glowing review, it was there's some bad things, but I'm optimistic of their thing. And they still said like, hey, thanks for the videos. Which is something I just can't think of any other like, there's not that many companies out there that will do that. Send videos out to very tiny YouTubers, send emails out to very tiny YouTubers and saying like, hey, thanks for the coverage. Like, how many people do that, or how many companies do that? So I think this is a good thing that Subscribestar has going here. I think they're in touch with their creators. I think I'm quite confident. Again, just to be fair, I'm not endorsing them 100%. I'm not even, I suppose, endorsing them, because I don't like to endorse companies because I know that's always going to backstab me in the end. But I think we need to make sure people are aware of this, that this company does exist. And of course, all the others too. Like, this isn't just a Subscribestar video. This is a Minds.com, Gab, was it BitChute's another one. A lot of these where I don't get paid by them in any way. I just think they're good companies. And I think they're worth supporting. At the very least, or at the very least acknowledging that they exist, because that seems to be still the biggest issue with them, is that everyone around me knows they exist, and yet every so often I'll meet someone that obviously isn't following this stuff like I am, that is looking for an alternative, and they don't even know they exist. So I think that's something good to do. Give them free advertising if you think they're a good company. That's how it works. And just remember, like, obviously, the whole time I'm saying give them good coverage, I get, or like say what you, I mean, obviously be honest about them, but the whole time I'm saying, if you think they're good, promote them. At the same time, I'm saying again, if you think they're bad, if Subscribestar turns out in the end to start kicking people off, I'm gonna make a video saying, dang, they broke my trust, dang, like I fell for it, they're an issue, they're not that good, they backstabbed me. But I'm gonna be honest about that. But I guess the whole point is just to say, hey, Subscribestar's back. A lot of people thought it was gone, but no, it's back. It's still here. And it's still something we should rely on, because, again, this, like, people are complaining, like, oh, the problem with Twitter is that there's no good Twitter alternative. The problem with Facebook is that there's no good alternative. They're just too tiny. This is how you do it. This is how you beat them. This is, if you don't like a company, this is how you do it. You support the alternative, and not just any alternative, but a decent alternative. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comments section. Maybe I'm totally wrong here. Maybe they're actually a horrible company and you think they're bad. If you think they're bad, tell me why. But I've looked into it quite a bit before I've said any good things about them, and it seems like they're good. But just to let you know, they're back. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like the video if you enjoyed. Subscribe for more. Share this video around. Let people know about Subscribestar, that they're back. And again, check the videos in the description if you're not aware of this whole thing that happened over the past few months about the whole Patreon thing. And thanks for watching.